can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Eevee and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, we're gonna be talking about Static Shadows of Dakota #3 by Nicholas Draper Ivy and Vita Ayala. This issue, the main and pretty much almost only thing I really want to talk about is what's going on with Static Shock Nemesis Ebon. I've done a couple of videos already talking about the character. For those who are unfamiliar, if you have never watched the Static Shock animated series, Ebon is a character who was adapted from that series and brought over to Milestone Media's newly rebooted Dakotaverse for the first time ever. Matter of fact, Ebon wasn't even a character from the original Dakotaverse in the Static comics. He was a 100% original creation for that animated series that came out in the early aughts. Now, we've long known that Ebon has the ability to manipulate shadows and darkness. He has an interdimensional level of control over darkness, able to teleport using shadows to be in one place one moment and arrive in a completely other place in the next instant. We also know that he has the ability to use shadows to cloak his normal form and turn into pretty much whatever he wants. And of course, just having manipulative control and generation of darkness, that's just one of those deals that, yeah, we've known for a while. That is Ebon's power set. But the thing that really changes everything for Ebon is that he's been getting some upgrades as of late. We have seen him enveloping people in shadow, trapping them in what could, for all intents and purposes, be infinite darkness, which isn't really much of a stretch considering he's done similar things in the Static Shock animated series. But now he's taken that ability to a whole new level in this issue. And I kind of hate that they use the Blood Syndicate as the sacrificial lamb to showcase Ebon's newfound power, but I get why they use the Blood Syndicate, because if you had to take a pick of what superheroes in the Dakotaverse you are going to sun the out of just to prove that Ebon is the real deal, I wouldn't pick Hardware, I wouldn't pick Icon, and I most certainly wouldn't pick Static in his own comic to do it, at least not right away. And that's exactly what's going on here. They're not picking any of those characters. They decided to go with the Blood Syndicate. This is very similar to what you would see in Marvel or DC. That's one of those deals where I've often seen people talk about how much Marvel loves to use Taskmaster as the sacrificial lamb for just about any time that a superhero or a supervillain wants to show off that they are really about that business. DC does something very similar with characters like Guy Gardner. That said, Ebon's new power isn't just that he can envelop people in darkness similar to how he did in the animated series, but he can also use the darkness and shadow to create a sort of psionic field that allows him to read the minds, accessing the memories of those he's enveloped in darkness. This explains why he knows so much about the operations going on in Dakota City regarding the abduction of Bang Babies, and his knowledge that there is a shady government op going on right now that has his own brother Adam Evans, aka the Rubber Band Man, captive as well. This is a really big deal. And once again, I'm admittedly not even the hugest fan of the character, but this is something that makes Ebon incredibly scary from the perspective of just being able to reach into someone's mind and pull out whatever it is that he could potentially want to know from them. He's able to read each member of the Blood Syndicate's minds that are present. He reads the minds of Fade. He reads the mind of Tech 9. And while he doesn't necessarily read the mind of Y-Sun, which I also thought it was kind of funny that they took a moment to jab at Y-Sun's name, it was one of those situations where, yeah, I could tell Nicholas Draper Ivy and Vita Ayala were taking every opportunity to all over the Blood Syndicate, which I don't know, who knows, maybe that will be an opportunity for the Blood Syndicate to show up later, maybe to help Static out and potentially hand Ebon a receipt. But yeah, I don't know, that if there was any one part of it I wasn't crazy about, I was like, man, why are you shitting on the Blood Syndicate? Let these folks thrive, man. Give them an opportunity. Like, Ebon is so punching down in this particular scenario, but I get why they went the direction that they did with it. All in all, it's a pretty solid issue where a lot of the focus here is just on the idea that Static is trying trying to figure out what's up with this shady government op. Who are these people who are behind the kidnapping of the Bang Babies as of late? And we also learned a little bit more about one of the characters who we were introduced to in the previous issue. Not so much the masked doctor who was torturing Rubber Band Man, but more the leader of the mercs who are doing the snatching and grabbing of all the Bang Babies. We discover that what his motivation actually is as to why he is heartlessly going after the Bang Babies like he is, and it all stems back to the Blood Syndicate. So maybe once again there is a connection there. Now granted, it's not so much to the Blood Syndicate proper, but just events that took place in the Blood Syndicate's comics, specifically issues number 5 and 6 of Blood Syndicate season 1, where Holocaust had pretty much taken over the entirety of Paris Island and was angling to completely take over Dakota City itself. The bridge that Holocaust blew up in Blood Syndicate season 1 number 5, we learned that the leader of the mercs lost somebody in the chaos of Holocaust's rampage of destruction. So if there was any one reason for this guy to have a beef with Bang Babies, I totally get it, though it does fall into that category of you are judging one entire group of people based on the actions of one dude. But as I've said before in other videos, if this person thought any differently, they wouldn't be a bad guy. I do still wonder if this merc is connected in any way to the new character of Samantha who we were introduced to in the previous issue. I don't know if that is going to be revealed to be a thing, but we do see that she is mentioned, so she is still very much missing as of right now. And we also know that Vita Ayala and Nicholas Draper Ivy also seem to be angling to put Virgil on the course of being with Daisy, who, for those who are unfamiliar, back in the original Static comics, and I think this was even a thing that was kind of hinted and teased at and danced around on the animated series as well, but in the original comics, Daisy was the girl that Static ultimately wound up with in the initial run of the Static comic book series, and then ultimately they would split up. They even had a story arc that revolved around them having sex for the first time and all the perils and pitfalls that could happen if they didn't use protection or if they weren't careful. So yeah, it seems like they're going in that direction right now, which I'm perfectly fine with. It does kind of seem like Static is hesitant to go in that direction. He's still carrying the torch for Frida, who's about to go study abroad for a while. He's feeling a little tight in his chest about that aspect of it, but it's pretty obvious to anyone who can see, and it's even showcased here where I believe Darius is the one who's staring at Static and Daisy as they're trying to pretend to not be interested in one another. That's pretty much the same look I had on my face when Static was trying to pretend that he had no interest in Daisy, or at the very least that he didn't want her to know that there was any interest or any awkwardness going on between them. But once again, the real meat here is the Ebon stuff, which I'm totally 100% here for. The fact that they're bringing Ebon in and treating him as a major force of nature, treating him as a proper villain in this, or at the very least not trying to depower him, but actually empowering him, going from taking him from the small screen to putting him on the comics for the first time. I like it. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, do the YouTube thing. We're just under 20,000 subscribers away from reaching our goal of 100K for 2023. So make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe, and click that notification bell so that way you don't miss any videos I put out, because I post new videos throughout the week and live stream every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and until next time, let me know what you thought about Static Shadows of Dakota number 3. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.